Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
I feel old today. My story hasn't changed. I'm not sleeping well at all, and I'm starting to feel it. I'm going to have to turn to some heavy drugs tonight to get a good night's sleep. Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. I still went to the gym and trained chest and shoulders today, and I don't leave anything behind. I mean, I give it everything I got. I would love to take a nap after I work out. I used to do that when I was powerlifting. Drove my ex-wife crazy. I'd drive the kids to school, I'd go and train, I'd come home and eat, and then I'd lay down on the sofa and nap for 20 minutes. I think I made some of my greatest gains because of that. Anyway, we're going to be talking about two really cool things today. We're going to be talking about a re-envisioned Indian clubs by ADEX. Don Giafordino is going to come on and talk to us about that, number one. And then the weather's starting to warm up. I was out on the bike yesterday. I'm going to try to get out in a little while this afternoon because it always makes me feel good to be on the motorcycle. And we're going to talk about something that you're going to be encountering this summer like you do every summer, and that's sticky balls. We're going to have Robert Patton on, the inventor of the Sheath underwear. There's no underwear out there like them. If you've never worn a pair, you have to get one pair just to try them. They're amazing. Before we get started, we have to thank our title sponsor. Not only the company, but the guy behind the company who has stood behind me every step of the way, even into the Gun Leash project, and that's Ron Penna over at Legendary Foods. Their new product is called the Sweet Roll. If you remember eating Cinnabons, maybe at the airport, maybe at the mall food court, and you know that they're horrible for you, but they taste so damn good, you can now enjoy them without the guilt. The Sweet Roll is basically an elevated Cinnabon. It comes in cinnamon with white icing on it. It comes with chocolate icing. It comes with mixed berry, which I love the mixed berry because the berry gets kind of gooey inside. It's so good. 20 grams of high-quality, high-leucine protein, 5 net carbs for those of us who are low-carb people, and 1 gram of sugar. They are delicious, and you should buy enough for the kids to eat because they will eat these instead of crap. And you should be happy that they'll eat them. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10, not only to show them where you learned about them, but you'll save 10% off. So check that out. And now, without further delay, let's bring Don on. Don, did I pronounce your last name right? Giafordino?
Yes, you did. Thank you, Carl.
How you doing?
I'm doing well today. How are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm as good as can be expected. So you are a physical culturist, as Sean Wasson, my buddy, one of the original investors in Gun Leash. There you go. What made you interested in reviving the Indian Club?
Well, I had done regular weight training since I was 12 years old. So I was basically doing bro lifting. I'd enter like a bench press contest every now and then, stuff like that. In 1996, I was going to compete in a bench press competition in a bar in Fort Lauderdale, of all places.
In a bar?
Yeah, at the Elbow Room, if people remember that from spring break days. So there was a gym next door to that. They had they would hold a bench press competition there every summer. So I decided that I was going to enter it one year, and I ended up hurting my shoulder while I was training for that, and it kind of like put the brakes on my training for almost a decade, for a good 10 years. So for a decade, and I had gone to 3 doctors, asked them what could I do to repair my shoulder. My shoulder had a strain. It was where the acromioclavicular joint comes together like this, or your clavicle and your shoulder blade touch to create the hole that your arm comes out of, and it spread apart. It didn't tear. I didn't have a separated shoulder, but I had a very bad strain, and it made it sloppy. So the three doctors all said that I needed a screw in my shoulder. And I saw people, you ever see people like this? They're lifting and they're, like overhead pressing like this. Right. I didn't want to be that guy. So I was like, well, if it's not tore all the way through, can therapy work? And one of the doctors said yes. It took me about 10 years from 2006 to 1990. I'm sorry, 1996 to 2007 to actually figure out that club training would have been the thing. But I was looking for something else to do because I could not get in this position to do a bench press or a push-up, and I couldn't press overhead. And I was feeling debilitated in my mid-30s. So I came across, I typed in alternative shoulder exercise, and I came across Scott Sonnen, the guy who did club bells, tack pit, and he's doing the mill, the most popular club exercise where you're going like this with the club. And I looked at that and I said, that's the exercise I need to do to repair my shoulder. So I didn't have anything that was the weight of a club. I thought a baseball bat could work, and it wasn't heavy enough.
Right.
So I took a dumbbell. The only thing I had at the time, and I had very limited funds. I was working for peanuts.
Right.
I used a one-sided dumbbell with 3 pounds on it. And I did it for 3 months. I did it every day for 3 months. And I got down to the floor and I did 11 push-ups, which was the most I did in 10 years. And I was like, oh my God, there's something to this. So from there, I started looking into the training. And I still couldn't afford a club, even with seeing what it could do for me. I'm serious. I was working for peanuts. All my money was going to child support. I'm not complaining about that. They're my kids.
No, I know, but this is such a unique male American experience. Right now, there's probably a couple thousand guys nodding their head, going, "Yeah, I remember that."
Yeah, I was eating bologna, but I was like, I was happy because it's for my kid. You know how the deal goes. I was being stoic about being poor, in other words. But so I started making. I decided to make my own club. Something I could change the weights on because I couldn't understand why there was no clubs made with.
Let's go back. Stay where you are. We're going to talk about how.
Okay.
Before all of this, there was something called an Indian club, right?
Yes, those were the wood ones that people see like jugglers
using. They look like bowling ball pins, right? Right.
Exactly. And like from the mid 1800s, probably earlier than that, but I'm going to say the height of that was from the mid 1800s to about the 1920s when York came out with the adjustable barbell.
Right. Right.
So prior to that, people were training with Indian clubs, and they would train with walking wands, and they would emulate fight movements. Basically, club training is the precursor to sword fighting.
Right.
So, the club, it was an extension of your arm to punch somebody at a further distance.
Right.
And to wield more force. And then the sword was a cutting implement, which was based on the club movements. Right. But the Indian clubs were actually used by most of the world's military, all the modern militaries of the time, up until World War I, to teach their soldiers sword fighting, because they were still wielding swords in World War I. You got to remember, there were still horses at the advent of tanks, coming onto the battlefield. So these guys were pulling cannons with horses, but there was tanks coming at them, and they're still fighting. Using their rifles as clubs to hit each other, and swords and long bayonets, etc. So this was still popular as warfare became more modernized and fitness became more modernized too, with, like it kind of coincided, at the same time. I guess that's what coincide means. But so like this was all occurring at the same time, right? Simultaneously and at the same time. So they
you sound like Yogi Berra now. He always had those.
Oh yeah. Yes. It ain't over till it's over.
Yeah, right.
So, like that was just an extension from there. But this was a staple in, like Victorian era gyms. So guys were training and women were training with that too, believe it or not.
And they were fixed weights, right? They were fixed weight. They started out at what, a pound, and they went up to
like a half a pound even, and then they went up to like, let's say like 15-pound ish,
right.
Like around that area, as heavy as they can make the wood.
Right.
And I think there was heavier ones. All of this type of training came out of, the India, Iran, Iraq area, the Persia area.
Mm-hmm.
The breadbasket of civilization, the world, where all civilization was born. And this type of training came out of there from thousands of years ago, because you got to figure the stick was probably the second tool that man picked up. It was either the rock or the stick. One. So I'm figuring the rock was the first one, the stick was the second one.
Right.
And then they figured out how to do things with it. That was a tool, the rock, the stick, etc. And then everything morphed out of there. So basically, it was emulating, all of the movements that built civilization, whether to defend it or to actually build it. Hammering, sawing, all of these motions. People were exercising with these tools to, because they had to defend their villages against invading villages, hordes.
This was the onset of functional training.
Exactly. So they were practicing with
something. If you're going to get stronger in a way that you'll use. But back then, defending yourself was probably the most important thing,
Sure. And they developed a system. And then over the years, the thousands of years, the millennia that occurred, it morphed into just an exercise and into sword fighting, etc. So whether people did it for fitness or if they did it for an actual function to be able to survive a battle, either way, it has its these great merits. I fell in love with it because not only did it repair my shoulder, but I also saw the fitness value in that. And I felt that we were getting astray from fitness as a whole, why people exercise. It was more towards the aesthetics. Like if you asked my 15-year-old self, why do you work out? Well, because I want to be big and muscular and look, attractive to girls and imposing to other guys, that was the thing, I want to, increase my prowess. So, no matter how evolved we're going to get, a male stature is always going to be on how strong you look. And that's just the way we are. I started seeing the benefits of fitness through this rather than just, training where, all the time, I think with weight, and I'm not knocking weightlifting, and I'm not saying to anybody to stop it. I just got hurt a lot doing it.
Right.
And I felt that wasn't doing much for my fitness. I'm doing this to also not only look good and perform well, but also to have, increased health and longevity and vitality and vibrancy. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to do if you were trying to always push the envelope and get hurt. So I get hurt deadlifting or squatting or benching, let's say every other year, which ultimately end up to an injury over the course of time. So I looked at this as a way for fitness now. Now I started seeing it as a way, I repaired myself, but how about fitness? Really to, for the average person that doesn't want to be 40, 50.
Yeah, doesn't want to deadlift, doesn't want to squat, doesn't want to bench press. Yeah, and the interesting thing about this type of a training implement is that it harnesses dynamic training in motion, training where you are going through an entire movement, and there's dynamic strength because you when you're swinging this thing, you don't want to let it go, right? So you got to resist that. I mean, so and it kind of it fits into what we've learned about kettlebells, and we're going to talk about kettlebells in a second. But that dynamic loading is completely different than starting from a dead stop and pushing a barbell up, bringing it down, pushing it back up. It's completely different on how it affects the soft tissue in the body. It builds the soft tissue even faster when you start doing some of these dynamic loaded movements.
Exactly. And the only thing I can if people haven't experienced kettlebell lifting, we're actually if you're doing a little bit of kettlebell sport and you're actually doing the swings and the ballistic movements rather than the linear movements.
Right.
people don't really understand. But when they do the kettlebell movements with the swings, that really gets it, like they understand it. So we had a lot of people transition from kettlebell right into club and mace training. It's like a natural progression from them. And then for people that have Olympic weightlifting experience, because like look at Olympic weightlifting, it's an explosion to throw the weight up as fast and as hard as you can, get your body underneath it to raise it overhead or elevate it overhead. So whether you're doing a clean and jerk or you're doing a snatch, those are ballistic movements, to a point. And regular weightlifting doesn't really, get into that area, which develops a different type of strength. I mean, we saw the Russian athletes that were doing kettlebells and Olympic lifting to supplement their other training, let's say for boxing or for wrestling. And they were so much more explosive than the athletes that weren't doing this type of training. And I think that, on a smaller level or a much more attainable level, people can do kettlebell and clubs to get to that type of training. You see a lot more fighters now are using kettlebells and clubs than regular weightlifting.
And that's because of that dynamic loading,
Yes. And also the emulation of the body's movement through, like when are you really in positions like in a bench press, unless you're like flat on the floor and you're trying to push somebody off you in a wrestling match, in a grappling match.
Right.
And that's very few and far between in there, because you don't want to get on your back in that position. That's like a last resort movement for a wrestler. So, when people are doing stuff like that, and then when they train with the ballistic type of movement instead of the linear type of movement, I think they find more of a vibrancy in their training. And it's just a different way of training, but it's one that is very, very effective.
And I'm going to say something for the sake of saying it. I mean, I have observed it. You were kind enough to send me an adjustable club, an 8X club, and if you just put the club handle itself and just the cap, the keeper, because you can look, that makes a hell of a weapon.
Yes, right here. I've got one handy right here. So
if you screw that all the way in, and it's just that one piece, and you have that, when we were kids, right? Everybody had a baseball bat in the backseat of their car in case you got into a fight, right?
I still have one in the truck.
Yeah, see, but this is a hell of a weapon too.
Yeah, it is. And actually, over the years of playing with this, when it's empty completely without the thread set in it, because this is another 1.5 pounds, this by itself is very effective because you can move it fast.
Right.
The heavier it gets, the slower you're moving it.
Right.
You want to be able to move a weapon fast. You don't want to be able to move it slow. So technically, the lighter it is, the better it look. Look at that. You ride a motorcycle, you know who the Hells Angels are, and the Outlaws and the Mongols and those guys, right? They all have ball peen hammers on their motorcycles somewhere, hidden on their bike, clipped onto the front.
I always had 2 spark plugs in my leather jacket pocket. When somebody would be a jerk on the highway, I would get up in front of them. Yeah, I'd let them both go, and a lot of times a windshield would just cave in because the air is hitting it at the same time.
Yeah, that's a very effective tool. I mean, it's sad to say that we have to do these things in
hey, you know what?
Life.
When people are stupid in a car, and you're on a bike, they can't. You can tap somebody else's car if you get pissed off at them. Road rage, and you're gonna tap them, and you'll dent their quarter panel. But with a bike, you're gonna kill the guy. You're gonna knock him off the bike while he's moving 60 miles an hour.
Exactly. When they do a dumb movement around you, they're actually threatening you. That's like firing a shot over your head.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel. If somebody did it by accident, whatever, you get their attention.
Yeah, and I don't get mad at people when they do stupid stuff. I had a woman almost T-bone me the other day. I was coming to an intersection. I was in the right lane. The left lane was a left turn lane, and the woman coming the opposite way wanted to make a left from her lane. And so she cut me. She cut right in front of me. I had to lock the bike up, and I stopped. I did yell at her. I'm like, "Come on, look where you're going." But it's my responsibility at the end of the day to make sure I know where she was. So
yeah, that's true too. But like I said, it's just sad in this day and age that we have to tell people not to put us, like in a compromising position,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it always seems like it's somebody who's like, like, oh, everything I do is for other people, those kind of
yeah.
people.
Right.
But it really isn't. But back to the club, though. I mean, like this is like, you are training in a martial art with this. Basically, you're
Right.
using a weapon, you're
Right.
moving it in a pattern, and it's repetitive, and it's building up the endurance to move through that pattern, to be able to do some, if you want to use it for that reason, for that type of training. It is a martial art.
And
You
it's much more challenging than I thought it was going to be. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially the thing where you swing it up and you're supposed to catch it and hold it steady.
Uh-huh.
I think that's going to improve my grip on my handgun.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you don't want to you want the recoil to not really move the gun very far when you're shooting it. If it's doing this, you got to come back down and resight it. If you're staying close,
Yes.
you could double cap. And I think that's very effective for people who shoot.
Actually, Alberto Galazzi, who is a very high level club trainer, and he's a bodyguard and a martial artist. He does a drill called the hand gunner, where he takes the club and he holds it at arm's length like this, and he goes around and he walks through scenarios where he's crouching down and standing up, and he'll load his club up to. I've seen him do it with 25-pound club.
That's pretty extreme.
And like he'll take like something where, so you can have that arm strength,
Rigidity. Yeah, you have to, because it starts at the shoulder. That
Yeah.
arm strength. It starts at the shoulder. And granted, if you're coming under fire, you're going to be a lot stronger than normal, because adrenaline is pumping. Your body is going to react differently than if you're just target shooting. But having that strength when your arm is fully extended is critical.
It's very,
And being able to rebuff that recoil and get right back on target again, that's critical. And so
Yeah.
I could see shooters really improving their ability to shoot repetitively and hit their target. This would be a great tool for that.
It is. It really is. And when I saw him do that drill, and he's been doing this for a few years, this is probably about, it's not something he just whipped up. This guy's bright. I mean, when I saw him doing that, I was like, whoa, that is really like a way.
What about swing movements? I want to talk about swing movements before we go into the break. What about using it I find it very, it loosens my shoulders. All I do is swing it back and forth, and then I casually let it go higher and higher and higher and back behind me. Is that good for the shoulder?
Yes. What you're doing is you're creating a tractioning effect. So it's opening up your joints a little bit, and it allows. One of the weak points in the human body is our joints. It doesn't have enough blood flow to it. So nutrients get very slow. If you've ever had a joint injury, it's very slow healing process, but it's the way, like nature designed us. So for whatever reason, that it's a very long process for the joint to come back to health again, like with my shoulder. Using the club, it elongates the joint, so you get a tractioning effect, almost like like you're being manipulated by a massage therapist or by a chiropractor to get your joints back into place. And it allows that little bit of opening and closing allows an exchange of fresh blood and oxygen into an area where I call it bruised blood. Like when blood starts getting tired and it gets thick around certain areas, slower to get back in the circulatory system. That kind of like helps it out. You kind of pump it out of there and get fresh blood into there, fresh nutrients into there. And, you can heal whatever's going on or strengthen whatever's going on in the shoulder or in the joint capsule itself. And that goes throughout the whole, your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, even up into your T-spine and your neck. You'll feel a lot of movement in there. And when you become proficient at the club training, like I tell people, they say, well, how do you know when you're getting good at it? And I say, when you don't feel the movement in your feet anymore, instead of using your whole body to move the club, you're using just one or two joint motions to actually move the club around instead of adding body English to torque the, like to
Right.
help with the torque.
Right.
So there is a lot of benefits to that. I feel I'm going to be 60 this year. I feel fantastic. I probably feel better now than when I was in my mid 30s.
Right.
Definitely better than when I was in my 20s. I was always beat up feeling, but this type of training, I believe, helps along with the longevity and just our overall well-being in our body, which is very important these days.
Now you have actually a tutorial, can I call it that?
Sure.
So I'm going to put this up, and then I'm going to put the banner ad for the tutorial. People can go and check it out. Go to adexclub.com to learn about the product. But if you go to train.adexclub.com, you'll see that are they tutorial videos done? Is that what they are?
There are. I have. I think right now we're building it out. There's a library of exercises. There's 2 or 3 libraries of exercises right now. There is a PDF workout program that's up there originally called the Swing Program, and it's for the clubs. And also there is a follow-along workout with Train with Donnie on that same thing. People can pick which product they want to use once they're inside there. We have a special going on right now that the first 100 people that sign up for that are getting this for $97 a year. And then it goes up, I think, to $199 after that.
And now, what do they get for $97 a year? They get to train with you, like a weekly training program.
There's 3 programs up there right now. They're going to be added to. That's what I'm going into right now, as far as getting more workouts put up there. So we should be putting up new workouts for all of our equipment on a weekly basis. And, it's starting from now. We just launched this. This is starting we've got it. I think there's about 60 subscribers, and it's been up for about a month or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there's either a PDF download of the workout for people that want to do it that way, with a library of exercises demonstrating the exercises, showing you how to do it, with a video. And then there's also follow-along workouts with me that I'm leading the workout, and I actually give you more tips, plus the library of exercises, so you can see what you're going to be training with that day. You can practice it maybe on your off day, and then you get the workout every other day, however you want to do it. It's already loaded up on there, where you train with me. And, I'm doing the resting with you. I'm doing the minute rest in between the sets. We do X amount of reps and sets. And it's just like being in a class. It's like being in, like if you're doing a follow-along class. I've done Mason club classes since 2014 regularly, up until my wife closed the gym last year.
Right.
So we were doing.
How many products do you have on the website besides
on the website itself? There's 12 right now, and we've got our club, which is this size. It's in 3 different handle diameters. We have a mid-length club called the Arc, which is about this long. I don't have one readily available, and that also has 3 handle diameters. And then also we have the Mace, which is a 40-inch long handle in 3 diameters also. So it, depending upon what you feel is comfortable for your hands. So it's like picking a barbell when you go to the to the gym, So, we have that, and the club goes to 25 pounds, goes from 3.5 pounds to 25 pounds. The Arc goes from 6 pounds to 28 pounds, and the Mace goes from 7.5 pounds to 30 pounds. But we also have an add-on kit that slides over to increase more weight settings. Another
like a baseball bat warm-up weight.
Exactly, like a donut for a baseball bat, but it's much bigger.
Right.
And the add-on kits add another 20 pounds to the settings to get to that. And we also have a prototype in the works well, I shouldn't say we have I've got 3 prototypes out there right now that have been tested for 2 years. to make another add-on kit that goes over our add-on, bigger add-on kit, which will bring the club up to, I think, 75 pounds and the mace up to 80.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's really, really heavy weight. I mean, even for people that swing, regularly, a heavyweight club is, I'm going to say 12 pounds and over. That's heavy.
Right.
For what people consider heavy.
Right.
Midweight's like 8 pounds, 10 pounds, and lightweight is like, under that.
Right.
Like when you understand that you're taking a weight, so here would be the weight, and it fits in here, and you've got that at the end prying out of your hand instead of holding it here like a dumbbell where you're moving it, and it's at the end of a lever. Now you have to fight against the weight, this 5 pound weight, trying to pry out of your hand.
Interesting.
So, and also,
I'm sorry.
I was going to say with the kits, we have a 5 pound weight. They come with 2.5 pound weights and 1.25 pound weights. Not all the kits come with the 1.25. That's an accessory. But the reason why I did the 2.5 pound is because I found out that with the regular club weights, the regular standard fixed weight clubs that were made, they went 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds. But when you have 5 pounds going up, and your wrist is what you're trying to develop, your wrist strength, and that 5 pounds is too big of a jump for you. And now you're getting like a wonky, wrist movement, and you can't control the orbit of your club because your wrist is going out of alignment because you're not strong enough there yet. We realized that the 2.5 pound weight was the step. So the 5 pound was much too heavy for most people to go up to the next weight level. So we added the 2.5 pounds in, and that kind of like shook up everything as far as like, us doing things in the industry.
Right.
So
I want to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk about choosing the right thickness for your grip. You've got to have a way to measure that, I'm sure. We're talking with Don Giafordino. He is the proprietor, the founder of the ADEX Adjustable Club. This is just another necessary product to develop a well-rounded strength in your body. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Superhuman Radio. There are lots of concerns about food supply today. That's why you need White Oak Pastures. White Oak Pastures will deliver food right to your doorstep. You don't even have to go out and be disappointed by shopping in grocery stores. The finest beef, pork, lamb, duck, and more can be found at White Oak Pastures. And now they even have seafood. And best of all, White Oak Pastures has a negative carbon footprint, which means that you don't have to feel guilty for eating your ribeye. Go to shrnetwork.biz/White Oak and use the code SUPERHUMAN to save 15% off. Never before has a product been went off the wagon big time at the end of the year, meeting all those family obligations and eating and drinking things that you usually don't. In order to start the year off right, you have to get back to square one. All that partying and stress depletes magnesium. Magnesium Breakthrough is more effective than any other magnesium on the market today to help you get your magnesium levels back to where they need to be. That's because Magnesium Breakthrough has 7 unique forms of magnesium. It's the new year, and if you want a new you need to replenish the magnesium in your body quickly. Go to shrnetwork.biz/mag breakthrough and use the code SHR10 for 10% off today.
Dogs should be powered by fat and protein, not carbs. That's why Visionary Pet makes low-carb, ketogenic dog food for dogs of all breeds and life stages. From kibble to freeze-dried and even low-carb treats, all Visionary Pet recipes are very low-carb, ketogenic, and made with 100% real meat protein. Shop now and use code SHR for 20% off your first order today. Your dog deserves the lifelong benefits of optimal nutrition. Make the switch to Visionary and see why smart dogs eat low carb.
Merrick Health is a premium telehealth platform that connects customers with partnered providers from the comfort of your home. Merrick provides concierge service with your very own patient care provider as your health advocate. You'll go over all your needs and goals, from improving sexual function, hair loss prevention, increased muscle, fat loss, and overall improved performance. Prescribed treatment options can be ordered and shipped directly to you if you meet the requirements, all from the comfort of your home. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Merrick Health. That's MAREKHEALTH, and order your comprehensives and get 10% off with code SHR. Don't forget to add the lab analysis to have results reviewed with potential over-the-counter supplements or treatment recommendations. That's shrnetwork.biz/Merrick Health and use code SHR at checkout. Or order your own desired labs with code SHR and get 10% off your first lab order.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where we use oxygen for the power of good.
Welcome back. So, Don, how does somebody choose the right grip size or the right bar thickness for their grip?
Here's the funny thing. My wife is 4'11" and 116 pounds. And she loves the fat handle mace, but the regular handle club, the original handle club, which is a 1 inch. So the fat handle is a 1.21 inch. The original handle is a 1 inch. She loves the fat handle mace, but the regular handle club. I train with clubs more than I train with maces. I love the fat handle club, but I really like the original handle mace, the 1 inch one. And my hands are this big. So if people can see,
Right.
you know, like I'm 6 feet tall, I'm 185 pounds. My hands are this big. I wear a large glove, and I'm comfortable using either one. I'm comfortable using any of them, honestly. I really am. I find this is what I find personally. The thinner handle is great for more mobility work, where you want to do a lot of small, fine wrist movement, elbow movement. If you're doing circles, you know, where you lean towards more of the traditional Indian club work, where you do Indian club work, when you do a mill, your elbow's high. You'll do a high swing like this, where with the heavy clubs, you swing low here to keep the stress off your elbow, and you put it up and over your shoulder using your lat, rather than letting the dynamics carry it up and over your shoulder, so that your elbow tendons aren't all loaded up with all that force. So the thinner handle, I feel, is more towards people that want to do more movement and mobility based work, whereas the thicker handle, it lends itself more towards the heavier strength based work.
Makes sense. I got a feeling that if you use the larger one, the largest handle, and you start out lighter and you develop that grip strength earlier on, you'll be able to do a lot of things with the larger. And because there's a lot of evidence that using a larger grip on things like deadlifts and curls produces much stronger forearms too, because you can't depend on that thumb as much to help you latch. It'd be interesting. I don't know what size my club is. Do you know what grip?
You got the fat one. You got the 1-2-1.
Yeah, I like it.
That's a nice, comfortable grip to start with.
Yeah.
The Wildman handle is 1.4, so that's like the thickness of like what the maces that are commercially made. Mm-hmm. We call them UCM, the Universal Chinese maces, that are, like they just slap their sticker on it and sell it, whoever sells it.
Right.
So that's kind of like the thickness of that. But Wildman did a lot of research that we do a lot of work with Mark Wildman. So we have a product line with his stuff in it. He's a pretty high level trainer. So we've developed that, with his suggestions as far as our tools, which is kind of a neat collaboration that we're doing. And we got the thicker handles, and they're a lot of fun to train with. But personally, I like them. I like them all. I really do. Right. But for the mace, and I compete as a mace athlete. So I do the competitions, and they use the original size mace for the league that we're using in the 1 inch handle. So that's kind of a lot of fun too. That sport itself is.
So what are the compulsory movements you have to perform in a competition?
So for the mace competition, it's a 10-2 and a 360. The 10-2 is actually it's called a 300 in Europe. In America, we call it a 10-2. That's pulling it over one shoulder, swinging it, and bringing it back over the other shoulder.
Which is supposed to be really good for your shoulders, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. And they're done in a 5-minute flight or in a 10-minute flight. And it's just like kettlebell sport. It's set up the same way, same platform. 3 athletes are up there with a counter. You've got your 5 minutes. I compete in a 5-minute stuff, and I usually do the 10-2 is what I like to do the best. There's also the Mace 360, where you just go in one direction, for the whole time, both one-handed, two-handed, one-handed and two-handed, I should say.
Right.
So going around like that. And that's a lot of fun. And then we do a club, 2 club events. They're called club long cycle, and it's usually done with double clubs, and it's a front swing into a front strike position brought back down, so it's up and over the shoulders and into a hip hinge. And those are kind of a lot of fun. Yeah, you see a lot of guys lose the clubs during those. A lot of the athletes drop the clubs during that time, and it's a very interesting sport. There's a lot of people that are. It's growing like crazy. The events get bigger and bigger every year. We've done them at the Arnold. We've done them at the Mr. Olympia. And at the Europa, believe it or not, all 3 of those big fitness events, we've actually had mace competitions at those. We had the Polish some of the guys from the Polish kettlebell team actually learned how to swing a mace within like 5 minutes and jumped up on the platform at the Arnold in 2017. It was fantastic. They said, teach us how to do that real quick. We want to do it.
That's cool.
And, they just jumped in. It was great. And there's athletes that are online and they share their training. There's guys that are swinging, 35, 40 pounds in these 5-minute flights and the 10-minute flights. The guys in Europe are kicking our butt. We got to catch up to them, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Have they been doing it longer over there?
I think, yes. I think Mason club training really didn't die out over there. Those guys were still doing it quietly, like behind the scenes, before it started making a resurgence back when Sonnen came back on, like in the early 2000s, like before 2005. Scott Sonnen was coming out of Dragon Door with all that, and then ultimately went on his own because his product grew so big and so fast. So since that time, I think the people in Europe have been doing it just a little bit longer. And they do a lot of one-handed stuff with some impressive weights. I mean, hats off to those guys. I believe their federation is called the IMF, International Mace Lifting Federation. And here in America, it's the AMCCA, the American Mason Club Athletics. It's run by Brad Hutchins. And they have different leagues. So we're doing one in North Carolina in the beginning of June, first weekend of June, at James Woodall's gym, Woodall Fitness and Performance. There's going to be a mace competition there, June 2nd to 4th, I think is the first weekend. So I'm going to be up there for that.
Cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be all at X Gear.
And I gotta believe that a lot of people listening to the show could buy clubs and enroll and go and compete.
You can learn, honestly, people have learned in 10 minutes before this. We've had people sign up at a gym, where a competition was going on and the gym was regularly open. And people would see this going on and they hear the music and everything. And they're like, hey, how do I do this?
I want to try it. Yeah. That's funny. Well, we have internet. Let's give Don a second to come back. It looks like his camera just went dead. It's probably his internet connection. Come on, Donnie. I hate to run a break right now because we'll lose him. Well, let's do this while we're waiting for him to come back. His website is adexclub.com, ADEXCLUB.com. You can go there and pick up your own 8X club, or mace, whatever you want. And then, of course, you can also sign up for the courses at train.adexclub.com and follow along. He's probably reconnecting right now. We're probably going to have another guest joining us here in a moment. Let's see here. Talking about underwear. All men need better underwear. I mean, a lot of you guys probably have your wives buy your underwear for you. I know a lot of men whose wives go, your underwear looks like crap, and they come home after going to Macy's with new underwear. Let's give him a couple more minutes and see. Oh, here he comes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you lost the internet. I waited. I just plugged your website while you're done.
Dude, oh wow. Dude, we're having some kind of weather out here today, and all of a sudden lightning flash, and take a look out that window. It's not nice out there. This is sunny Florida. So I apologize for that, guys. Whew. I'm not catching you here.
How about now?
I got you better. I'm hoping it's not on my end.
No, it's on my end.
Okay.
I was saying, if you want the weather to change, you got to get permission from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh,
She'll
yeah,
change she's the queen of the weather. She's going to fix the weather for us.
She's cute, but a little nutty.
I would agree with that statement. I wish I lived in Florida right now, because you guys kind of have a bubble around all the nonsense that's going on in the country right now.
Yeah, but people are getting mad. I don't know. Like everybody's fired up. I'm a person that believes that we need to get along on the ground, because they, in charge, whoever that they are, they aren't afraid of us anymore.
It's not only aren't afraid of us, but they capitalize on chaos. If they keep us, if we're racing, we're complaining day in and day out about Bud Light and LBGT and Biden, that gives them the opportunity to do what they want to do, because we're so busy bickering amongst ourselves that they're stealing all the money from the country. They're sending it to the Ukraine, and then it's coming back to each of their bank accounts. So we're being fooled. We're being fooled right now. Yeah,
it's a nice smoke screen, and it keeps us all arguing. And
and
I'm not. It's a long thing, and it's sad to say. I'm the type of guy that I vote for who I thought was going to do a good job from the information that I digested myself, not that's thrown at me.
Right.
Obviously you could see I'm slightly of a free thinker,
Right.
So, and my voting record is 40% Democrat, 40% Republican, and 20% Libertarian, because I just gave them a shot, because I know the other guys were doing good. But
right.
I try to be, like everybody who's getting up every day and working like we are, that's my friend.
Yeah.
They agree with me on things or not, that's my friend. That's who my friends are. The enemies are the people trying to change our lifestyle.
They're trying to get our money for nothing. Just take the money. Yeah. Increase taxes, $4.7 trillion in new taxes in this new budget.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they wanted 87,000 more IRS agents. They're saying, it's to go after the wealthy. You need 500 to go after the wealthy. 87,000 is to go after average people. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, we're just being fooled, and identity politics has gone too far. I think everybody should be working out, and that should be our bond, talking exercise with each other.
That's the truth. That's the
living good and being happy people.
So, Don, how long have you been making 8X clubs now?
Since 2013. I should actually say since 2011, because that's when I made my first prototype. And, like my
that was just for your use, right? The first one?
Well, the original ones that I made out of T-ball bats were for my use. And then I saw that there were, like I made them so that I could adjust the weight inside the T-ball bat. So, I did those originally, and then I did it more towards the shape of the club, the shape that we have now. I actually designed the one that we're doing now while I was a crane operator. I was sitting in the cab of a crane, bored out of my mind, not doing anything one day, and I sketched out how I wanted it to be, and then I went from there to get a prototype made, and I used it for 2 years every day just to make sure that it stayed together, that it was a quality product. And then I went and got, to local manufacturers to see if somebody could manufacture for me at the best price. I went overseas, got quotes from over there, didn't want to get caught up in all that nonsense of importing it, of stuff and dealing with, all the hassles with China, et cetera. And I make them here locally, actually, like less than 2 miles. I think it's 2 miles from here at the warehouse, which my home is also like 2 miles from here also.
Right.
And then they're coated. The coating is put on them. And about,
what is the coating? It looks like it's really a strong coating.
This is a strong. So this color here is for a demonstration one, so it shows up better on the clubs. But the black clubs, that's all powder coating on the handles themselves, and it is a textured powder coating, so we don't have to use knurling or anything. So it's a non-slip coat. It took us a long time to develop that. We finally got it right. It's it was worth the years of messing with this until we got it right. I didn't want to put the knurling on the club because I found out with all the testing we did that the clubs rotate in your hand this way.
And you want to let them rotate a little bit, right?
Yeah. So if you put a piece of tape on the top of the club here and point it out at 12 o'clock, and you do like 15 swings with your club, that piece of tape won't be pointing out at 12 o'clock anymore. It'll be somewhere else. So the club is actually rotating in your hand. You don't want that tearing up your hand. You ever use a barbell that's really heavily knurled and it digs into your hand? Like
the bleeding. Yeah.
Yeah. When you deadlift, that's the worst when you got that sharp knurl in there. And these are really moving in your hand. It's like a constant.
So isn't powder coating where they electrify the metal and then they put the powder? The powder actually is bound through electricity, right?
Yes. There's an electrical current put in there, and it's put on, and the paint comes out in a dust fashion, and sticks right to the metal like a magnet. Mm-hmm. And then while it's set like that, after they set it on the rack, they'll roll it into a giant oven and bake it off on these large racks. They'll put like 200 handles in at one time, and then they bake them off. I can't remember what the time was, but our paint facility, the paint facility that we use is the size of the building that my unit of my warehouse is in. So there's 8 units in my building. My paint facility is the size of my whole warehouse building.
Wow.
I mean, it's just phenomenal. It goes in at one end and it comes out the other. And it's beautiful.
I know the barrels on my motorcycle are powder coated.
Oh, yeah.
On the cylinders, and they never chip ever. Never, ever.
Yeah, they look beautiful like that too.
And they get hot. They get hot. They get 600-700 degrees when the bike is running in the summertime. Those barrels, they're very, very hot. That stays put.
Yeah. Stays put. Yeah, you can feel all that heat between your legs too.
Yesterday, I got caught in traffic. I literally walked my bike 2/3 of the way home because the traffic was, you let the clutch out, you roll a little bit, you take a few steps, you pull the clutch in, you stop. I did that yesterday. Elisa thought she said, I was wondering what took you so long to get home. I said, River Road was bumper to bumper. Usually I'm home in literally 5 minutes. It's like a straight shot. I hit one traffic light on River Road in Louisville. It was so backed up that I literally I was getting tired. I was thinking, I'm just going to pull over and wait for this to pass because I'm literally walking my motorcycle home tonight. So,
That's great. And you're in Kentucky. I never thought in my lifetime that I'd hear about a traffic problem in Kentucky, after growing up in the New York City area.
Yeah, well, this road is unique. It's River Road. It's one lane each way, and it goes along the river, the Ohio River. It's beautiful, scenic, and it's never jammed up in traffic, never. And there's one traffic light the whole path, and I literally get on right outside my subdivision, and I get off right outside my office. It's so great, but I got a lesson last night that I have to be sure that it's not rush hour next time I go. That's the thing.
That sucks when you're on a bike like that.
We are supposed to be joined by another guest here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you go. I'm going to run a commercial, and hopefully he'll be joining me when we come back from the commercial. Again, let's plug the product, show them some love. Go to ADEX, ADEXclub.com, and you can also sign up while you're there for the training by going to train.adexclub.com. These are not expensive. You know how I feel about having equipment to train at home. Everybody should have equipment that they can train at home. You never know, your day gets derailed. Oh, I was going to go to the gym today and train. I can't. You got to have stuff at home that you can grab and bust out a good half-hour workout, break a sweat, and go on your way. This is one of the things. I have kettlebells. I have power blocks. I have, of course, a very expensive ARX machine. But now I have this, and I'm really going to be doing a lot of work with it to improve my grip on my shooting hand.
Well, not only that, you on a bench press day, if you do the outside mill motion, that opens up your pecs.
Oh.
So I wish when I was doing, like the heavy benching, that I was doing this stuff. I really think that if I knew how to do clubs and combine that with my weight training before, one, wouldn't have gotten injured in my shoulder,
Right.
and two, I think my recuperation would have been much faster.
I agree.
You can, after when you're done benching, you feel all good up in here, but you're pulled in, you're medially rotated, and that's binding everything up. You're pulling all this here, so you're not getting that good blood flow throughout the muscle that you just destroyed.
Right.
And I think that would have been a game changer for me. So if anybody's listening to that, if you're a power lifter, well, Chris Duffin, we all know that guy's strong, right?
Yeah.
He swings a mace, and he does that to open up his shoulders after benching and shoulder work.
Right.
So you can't argue with that guy. That guy's
no, I know, and he's a genius. I mean, he's invented so many different bars and implements that have improved people's ability to train.
Yeah,
he's another one.
Yep. Like the perpetuation of the little things that people are doing to change, to make it more comfortable and more progressive,
more effective.
Yeah, effective is just phenomenal. Like what's going on, but even Indian clubs would have helped. At that, even little 1 or 2 pound ones to get to get that chest to open after all that heavy work.
Right,
would have been fantastic. And then it lights up your lats.
Oh yeah, it loosens everything up, and it loosens up the shoulders, so the shoulders are more mobile.
Yeah,
Don, thanks for taking time to be here today, brother.
Hey, you got it, man.
Take care. We're going to take one quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Robert Patton. It's time to talk about underwear. The hot weather is coming, and we have a solution for you guys. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I think that's it for me.
BPC is one of the most amazing supplements you can use. It's been shown to increase the speed of recovery, heal the gut, and do so many other things. BPC stands for Body Protection Compound, and it's a naturally occurring peptide in the body. Used by professional athletes and weekend warriors alike, there has always been an obstacle in the way of average people using BPC, and that is it was injectable only. Not any longer, thanks to NutriNeeds. We now have oral BPC, and it works. Go to shrnetwork.biz/NutriNeeds, NutraNeeds. Use the code SHR and save 10% off your bottle of BPC. Feel better, recover faster, train harder. NutriNeeds. Remember those rectangular toaster pastries you used to love when you were a kid? Well, Legendary Foods has just made them better. The new cake-style tasty pastry is like nothing you've ever had before. With 20 grams of high-quality protein and less than 1 gram of sugar, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use the code SHR10 to save 10% off your purchase of tasty pastries. Now available in cookies and cream, red velvet cake, birthday cake, blueberry, strawberry, brown sugar cinnamon, and hot fudge sundae. Go to shrnetwork.biz/legendary and use code SHR10 today. Hey, this is Carl Lenore. I am the inventor of Gunleash. Over 500,000 handguns are lost in the United States every year. If you carry a gun like I do, you are 300 times more likely to lose your gun. And 15% of those guns will end up in criminals' hands and used in the commission of a crime. Gunleash solves that problem. Gunleash is a patented, no-tracking proximity device the size of a postage stamp. It will alert you as soon as your gun is outside of your range, so you can never leave your gun behind. To learn more and to be notified when Gunleash is available at the end of January, go to gunleash.com and get on our mailing list. Gunleash. Never lose your gun, never leave your gun. Great sleep upgrades you on virtually every level. Body fat, muscle mass, mood, brain function, and countless other ways. But taking melatonin alone isn't the answer. Thanks to a brand new sleep formula developed by my friends at Bioptimizers, you can experience the best night's sleep ever. Sleep Breakthrough is a delicious sleep drink that supports your natural melatonin production and relaxation without creating a dependency, so you can have the best night's sleep on demand. It targets 5 different sleep pathways to give you the best sleep ever. And best of all, you'll wake up feeling rested and rejuvenated so that you can have the best day possible. For an exclusive offer for my listeners, go to sleepbreakthrough.com/SHR and use the code SHR10 for 10% off. Plus, you can unlock special gifts with the value of at least $20. This is a limited time offer, so go to sleepbreakthrough.com/SHR right now.
Hey guys, it's time to change your f***ing underwear, and it's time to Sheath. Sheath's underwear's revolutionary designs allows your man parts to hang the way they would naturally hang if you were not wearing underwear. And this improves the blood flow throughout the day to the twigs and berries. If you've never experienced wearing a pair of Sheath underwear, boy, is there an exciting experience waiting for you. Grab a pen and write this down. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Sheath. That's SHEATH. And use the code SUPERHUMAN to save 20% off your first pair. And get this, if you're not completely satisfied, send them back for a full refund. That's shrnetwork.biz/Sheath.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. Don't hate us because we feel good.
Welcome back. We're joined by Robert Patton. Many people thank him, especially on the hottest days where you sweat the most, for inventing Sheath underwear. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing pretty good. You're looking very jacked, sir.
Yeah, I try. It's a real effort. I'm not. You know what it's like to build a company, right? I mean,
Yes,
you do.
sir. Yeah.
And I'm building a company right now, and this is not the best time in the world to raise money, as you could imagine.
For sure.
And so, man, it's this is a labor of love, but I am going to do it because Gunleash will save lives. If we have fewer people losing guns or having them stolen, 80% of handguns are stolen from cars.
Interesting.
And we have a product. We have a product for that.
No, I just saw that ad. It sounded very intriguing. Like, it's kind of like you never leave your phone anywhere, and you wouldn't want to leave your gun anywhere.
Right, and people do it all the time. But yeah, it's coming along. So the warm weather is coming. Yesterday it was 77 degrees. I rode my motorcycle. I got caught in horrible traffic. So obviously, I was sweaty and sticky and yucky, and that's the exact environment that you came up with the brainstorm to create Sheath underwear.
That's right. I was in Iraq in 2008, and I was hotter than the devil's balls. Yeah. And it was like a necessity is the mother of invention type scenario. I needed something to alleviate the discomfort downstairs. And I was just like, if there was a pouch or pocket in my underwear to separate me from my inner thighs,
Yeah.
it would alleviate this discomfort. And so I actually went online to search and look for a product. I didn't think I was going to have to invent it myself, but when I couldn't find anything online, I literally went and made some while I was in Iraq. And I mean, because we have tailors in Iraq where they'll customize your uniform and stuff as needed if you gain or lose weight or whatever. But I had them customize these underwear, and they were laughing. They were kind of snickering, like, this is crazy, but they did it. And the pouch was way too small on the first prototype, but it did what it was supposed to do. I just needed to make the pouch bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the magic. And it keeps everything separated if you wear it the way I do. I use a little peephole to use the outer pouch for Jimmy. Yep. And then I use the inner pouch to hold the berries. Yeah, I love it.
I love it, and that was keeping me up at night because it originally was just one pouch, and it was just basically everything goes in one pouch.
Yeah, but then all you're doing is just moving the problem a little further away from the body. That's all you're really doing then.
Yeah, and I was having anxiety, and I was like, I need this second pouch. And I remember just laying in my bed one morning, and I got up really early because I was laying there with this anxiety. It's like, I need to go and I need to submit this idea to the U.S. Trade and Patent Office.
Right.
And when I did that, then we released the dual pouch, which is like 90% of our products have the dual pouch. We do have 2 options for the single pouch, which some people like that. I mean, some people don't use the
Woody the Woodpecker hole.
Not little. I'm just kidding.
No, right. No, actually, they come in handy if you are, of a little above average size. It's actually very fitting for you. The other thing I want to talk about is I want to get a little intimate with the guys for a second.
Let's do it.
So, you got a wife, you got a girlfriend, you got a significant other, and the weather's sweaty, and you come home and like you want to get intimate, and wait, you want me to do what with that right now? Like, go take a shower.
Exactly.
I'm serious. When you think about it, right? And so these will ensure that you're not going to get as sweaty and as sticky and as dewy as you normally would, because it keeps everything separate. You got to keep them separated. Remember that
Offspring.
song?
Yeah, Offspring. Absolutely. And it's just like, because skin on skin contact is going to create a sweating effect regardless. If you just put your hands together and hold them there for like 60 seconds, you're going to feel the heat generated. It's going to start sweating. That's what Sheath eliminates for the boys downstairs, and it keeps you cool and comfortable, situated.
And the material is amazing. So like you have ladies, you have underwear for women, and they love it because the material is amazing. And I love the patterns. They got a lot of different camos. I mean, it's really great stuff. So you can get a pair for you, and you can get a pair for her, and you can both enjoy them. And now is the time to get them before it gets blisteringly hot. And guys, I'm sad to say this. This is not me, because I do buy my own underwear, but most women buy their husband's underwear for them.
Yes.
And like, what the F, man? You can't buy your own underwear. You have to order a pair of Sheath, and if you don't like them, send them back. In fact, we challenge you to send back the stinkiest pair you can find. Robert will sell them on eBay.
That's right. It's like selling women's bathwater, but it's
there you go.
Dirty bowl.
No, but I mean, you got to try them. I know if I didn't try them, I would have never believed there was anything like worth getting interested in. Oh, come on, it's underwear, man. I'm a dude, just underwear. And then you got the guys out there. Well, I go commando. Ooh, man, I used to do that when I was really young. I wouldn't do it nowadays. I really just wouldn't.
It's too much friction. We just had this guy. He's going to be traveling to 163 or 98 different countries, and he's going to break the world record to do it in the shortest amount of time, which is going to be just under 540 days. And he he wears Sheath. He already wears Sheath, so he reached out a couple of days ago to see if we would contribute to his journey, and it sounds really exciting. And he's going to be documenting. He's actually a documentary filmmaker, and I asked him where he found out about us, because I typically do that, and he's like, the thing you're doing with podcasts is really working. You know, the guys you're working with, Carl Lenore, he's mentioned Michael Malice and a couple of the, we sponsor quite a few podcasts, but
Right.
he's like, that I found out about it, I tried it, and that's all I wear now. And so we're just trying to get the word out. There is another option that's more comfortable than your average everyday Joe underwear, and you will not be disappointed. If you are, like Carl was saying, we got 100% money back guarantee on that first pair. But if it, you know, for sure use the pouch, but if you don't use the pouch, they're great underwear.
They're still good. Yeah, they're still good. Or if you only use one pouch and you don't really have, you know, the little woodpecker hole is nice and convenient when you have to urinate. You know, you don't have to like pull your underwear down a little bit and come out over it. The hole is perfect. It's really the most convenient, most well thought out pair of men's underwear I've ever seen in my life. A lot of thought went into these.
A lot of trial and error and thought and just determination to create the best underwear that you can get on the market. And we see my algorithm shows me so many different underwear companies now, because that's, you know, clearly my interest has to do with underwear, and there's a lot of copycats out there. So we're the original dual pouch. Just check us out and, you know, sign up to our email list. We have use this promo code. Exactly.
Use Superhuman. Go to shrnetwork.biz/sheath and use Superhuman. And not only will you get a 20% off discount, but you will be helping support Superhuman Radio at the same time. And if, you know, you're saving money and you're helping us out at the same time.
Yeah. What more do you want? I mean, the way things are moving in the direction, it's like you know, capitalism, but there are a lot of smaller companies that are growing and developing their product, like you and your new gun leash product. And so, you know, support small businesses.
Yes.
The Goliaths are there, but they don't have this. So they'll always be there, but just, you know, you'll be doing good for humanity.
There you go. So check them out. Excuse me. shrnetwork.biz/sheath is our personal code, but you could also go to your normal website is what? Sheathunderwear.com?
That's it. Super easy. We're going to buy sheath.com one of these days, but it's a little pricey still.
And of course, if you, no matter how you get there, as long as you use the code Superhuman, we will get credit for you buying them there. That's it. That's all there is to it.
That's it.
That's it, Robert. I just wanted to get you on there and give a plug, because we got to remind guys that the weather is changing. It's going to start getting warm and sticky now. And now is the time to invest and then buy a bunch. I mean, they're the best underwear. And you know what the funny thing is? When I run out of a pair of Sheath, I just wear a dirty pair of Sheath. And Elisa gets mad at me. I go, look, I don't poop on myself. You know, I'm really a clean dude, and I sweat. That's all. It's like, what's the worst thing? I don't want to wear those other underwear. I just don't like the way they feel on me. That's
Not
it.
anymore. Yeah. No, I appreciate you endorsing our product and working with us and allowing me this opportunity to come on here and talk to your listeners. So thank you very much. And we'll have to do it again soon.
Okay, Robert, take care. And thank you to everybody who's here today. This is the only show I'm producing this week, but we have a couple really good ones, some groundbreakers next week. Oh, also, I will be at the NRA convention in Indianapolis, Indiana this weekend, meeting with some of the gun manufacturers to talk to them about helping us with the gun leash. So if any of you who are going to be up there in Indy, message me through the website on air at superhumanradio.net, and we'll hook up and hang out. Okay, so there you go. All right, Robert, take it easy, brother. See you soon. All right, and that's it. See you later, alligator.